Rampage now. Rampage is called a function generator. It can work as a slew limiter as well as a versatile envelope generator. It's a tech decay envelope generator. It contains two independent units, here one on the left and one on the right side. And let's go through it. The outputs, each unit has its own output, of course. Unit A, the left one is here from output A. Let me patch it to the oscilloscope, and this is the output B. When I don't feed any signal in here into input A, we have an envelope generator which needs to be triggered. I can do so manually by pushing this button, but I have to change the time. Quite long. Yeah, that's better. Or I can do this externally by using the square wave of an LFO, for example. Yeah. All right. So the range switches sets the time dimension down. With the switch down, we have that's a middle long phase, a middle long time per envelope phase. In the middle, we have quite short one, as you see, and with a switch in the upwards position, we have a really long one, and even longer than the cycle of the triggering cycle of the LFO. So I remove it and trigger it manually. Yeah, really long phase. Okay, let's go back to the middle phase. And insert the external trigger, but I make it a little bit slower. All right. We have we can choose between three different envelope characteristics. This is the linear one. Now I get exponential ones. Exponential means in the upwards curve it goes faster at the end, and in the downwards curve it goes faster, even also at the end, but down, of course. And the other way around is logarithmical. You see that the difference gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It gets slower at the end, and the same with the downward curve. Let me change the fall time. So even increase the rise time. No, it's too much. Let's say this way, and then we can see the difference better. Now again linear, and now again exponential. All right, so we have the range, we have external and manual trigger, we have the characteristic, we have rise and fall settings. Let's have a look at the outputs. I patch the Y in of the scope to the rising output the rising output, and we see that the rising output, the same as with the falling output, by the way, deliver gate signals, and the rising output delivers a gate high, an open gate, as long as the slope is on its upwards development. The rise time, I can make it shorter. Now we have it shorter, can make it longer. Now we have it longer. And you can imagine what the falling output does. It gives a gate signal when the envelope is at its downwards development. We have gate signals here. We can feed signals in, so we don't need to trigger them. And I feed in, okay, let's start with square wave again, but now I feed the square wave in, and to show what I am feeding in, I attach it to the oscilloscope. So the pink, let me change the position a little bit. So the pink curve is the square wave which is fed in, and now Rampage works, the left unit of Rampage, at the moment only using the left one, works as a slew limiter. So meaning the pink curve is changed into something more smooth, into the blue curve here, and I can make it steeper at the beginning, but smoother at the end. It's too much, as I see, so it's perhaps better. Yeah. A little bit faster, perhaps. All right. Or less smoothed out, and so on. You know how a slew limiter works. We have it in this book and in the videos before quite a lot of times. So what do we have? We have the rising falling outputs. We have the functionality as a slew limiter. Yes, I can modulate the, let's trigger it again. So a little bit faster. So we don't need this. So I can modulate the rise and the fall times, of course, by external signals, but I have to zoom out a bit. Come on. Yeah. So let me use second LFO to modulate. And I take the triangle wave. I say modulate the rise time. With all the effects which I have demonstrated in earlier chapters when I talked about modulating envelope stages. I used Intruo, the module Cis or Sais or Sais. I don't know how to explain, how to pronounce this Celtic word. I used this module to explain it, but we had modulating envelope stages there. You may remember this graph here, and I can do the same with the falling stage. With the exponential CV input here, it's a little bit different because, first of all, I modulate both the rise and the fall time at the same time. And whereas with the rise and fall inputs here, with rising CV level, the time of the envelopes of the envelope stages gets longer. It's different. It's the other way around with the exponential CV input. The higher the level, the CV level is, the shorter the envelopes get. Let me show this. And let me do it. So, and this way. And you see, when the pink curve, which is the modulating triangle wave, rises, shows a higher level, the envelope gets shorter. Let me increase the offset to make it better visible. Yeah, now you see here, it's nice that the higher the input level, the shorter the envelope, but the shorter both envelope stages. Yes, so I think I have talked about everything concerning only one unit. It's the same with unit B here on the right side. Now let me talk about the outputs here, minimum, maximum, and B higher, the level higher than A, as well as the balance, the balance knob. So minimum, maximum, and B is higher than A are comparators. B is greater, higher than A is a simple comparator. Let me introduce a second scope. Duplicate. So, and then I have to zoom out even more. So it's enough. I put it here. Yeah. What I'm doing now, I don't need this. What I'm doing now is I adjust different envelopes, envelope sizes. Let's say this. Well, let's try it this way. I have a trigger. I make it slower a little bit, and I feed the output of the left envelope generator, the left unit, in the X input of the left scope. We have the blue line here, and the output of the right here, this unit, to the Y output. And so we should have, why don't we? Ah, yeah, of course, I have to trigger it. Sure. So, but I think I can make it a little bit larger. So, and to the right. Okay, yeah, a little bit. I think that will be okay. So we have, what you see is the blue line is what the envelope A produces, the CV envelope A produces here, and the pink line is what envelope B produces. And now I look at the B bigger than A output. And you see, we get high signals, square or pulse wave-like signals or pulses, depending on when B, this is this one, is higher than A. This is this one. You see, the level of B must be higher than the level of A, and then we get a pulse. It's not that easy to see because I can't have a third line here, a third graph, but I think it's clear. Let me make the times longer. So when I want B more often and longer be higher than A, I can perhaps reduce and increase on this side. And now you see it's longer times. With the minimum knob output jack, it's like logical OR, logical AND, sorry, I'll explain later. But here we get not a pulse wave or a permanent high, but we get exactly the voltage level which is lower, the voltage level of these two. So once again, the Rampage compares permanently the level at the outputs of these two outputs and delivers the level at the lower one, or delivers the lower level, this one. And it's the other way around with maximum. It delivers the maximum level, which we have. And we have nice waveforms we can construct this way. When I say the minimum is like logical AND, means if I dealt only with square waves, so if the blue and the pink wave were squares, only logical high and logical zero, then we have, of course, the AND logic, yeah, because the minimum would be zero, yeah, and the maximum would be high. So we have an OR logic here. Yeah, it's enough here with the maximum output. It's enough with one this square waves is at a high at a certain time to get a high at the output. And here with the minimum, it's necessary that both square waves are at their high level at the same time to get another output than 0. All right. Okay, we don't need this anymore. What about remove everything? What about this here? These switches switch between single shot, externally triggered, or one shot. Well, I should of course show it again, or manually, and looping. So I can make the envelope loop. I have to trigger it once, and then it loops. So you see, I don't need the end of cycle output here, which produces a trigger impulse always when rise and fall time of the unit are completed. Simply switch to loop. Let me unswitch. Let's switch down again. And I can do this, of course, independently, one looping and one not. But I can also use the end of cycle output to trigger other units. I won't do this now for other envelopes or whatever I need to be triggered. Or I can use it to trigger the other of the two envelopes here, of the two units, so that one follows the other. Let me do it this way and trigger in. So now at the end of cycle of trigger A, envelope A, the end of cycle of envelope A triggers the beginning of the cycle of envelope B. Let me make it longer. No, let me try it first this way. But let's say I want this very smooth attack and very smooth decay, followed by a quite short attack and a quite short decay. Let me trigger the left unit. And again. And I should, of course, also put, so the output to the scope, same position, and shoot it. And again, followed by short envelope. And I can send then, of course, both to trigger something or to modulate what I want, pitches or cut off frequencies, and so on and so on. All right, is there something left to say? I don't think so. Yeah, okay, I can do the following. I can trigger back this one, and I say once I put the trigger, and then you can imagine it loops, and loops, and loops, and loops. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's it with Rampage. There are a lot of nice applications on YouTube. And, well, the importance of envelopes I have explained in this book often enough, I think.